play outside of Jimmy Butler.
No, you don't bet like that. We don't bet like that. Injury. You told me injuries are a part of the game.
Yeah, that's when it comes to football.
So they're not a part of the game in the NFL and NBA?
I mean, they're a part of the game, but situations change drastically.
So what about Giannis being injured?
Playing. And
what
that
about
means
Giannis?
The Heat were at an extreme disadvantage against the Celtics. So why would you even want to take that bet? Matter of fact, why would you even want to take my money knowing that we didn't really stand a chance?
Why would you bet? It's not
I bet because I thought everybody was playing.
No, you didn't. Jimmy Butler had already got hurt. Ain't nobody else get hurt.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
You really gonna take my hard-earned money?
Every last dime of it. Now run me my money.
Wait, knowing all these kids I got to take care of?
Unfortunately, my kids can't go hungry, so your kids can eat. If any kids go hungry,
so you can let my kids starve, so your kids.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think the whole chat is in agreement. Hey, chat, what y'all think? Are you letting your kids go hungry so your best friend kids can eat? I just want to know, yes or no. Hey, we're gonna put that to the poll and start a poll, Ash.
But
would you let your best friend kids eat and let your kids go hungry?
But that's not fair. See, because the situation is you already have money to feed your kids, as do I. But if you take my little money that I bet on the Heat that I thought might have had a chance to win at least one more game, so they could at least look like they did game 2, it didn't happen. Mm-hmm. But you already got money now. So if you take money out my pocket on our bet, that means my kids ain't gonna be able to eat.
Hey, who said that? Man, F them kids. Hey, you know what, Ocho? So let the kids eat cereal. I mean, hey, so your kid got to eat cereal for a couple of days.
You're lucky, it's a good thing 3/4 of my kids, 3/4 of them can fend for themselves and they can feed themselves. So I ain't tripping. It's cool.
Yeah, I want to know. I want to know who gonna let their kids go without. So their friend kid can eat.
That's funny.
Again, Ocho Gill log in. He went out, so we're gonna go ahead and start the game. The Mavs blow out the Clippers, take a 3-2 series lead, led by Luka Dončić, had 35 points, 10 assists, and 7 rebounds. He was Luka. He was sensational tonight, 14 of 26 from the floor. Kyrie chipped in with 14. Jones had 12. Max Kleber had 15. Derek Lively, the second, had 12. And Hardy came off the bench, and he gave him 14. The game was close at the half. Well, it was a 10-point lead, if I'm not mistaken, at the half. And then they just took off in the third quarter and didn't let up in the fourth quarter. And this game really wasn't that close. We talked about it, Ocho. In order for the Clippers to win this series without Kawhi, James Harden is going to have to be the beard.
Right.
Paul George is going to have to be playoff P. And they've gotten that in 2 games. In the 2 games they won, especially the last game, both guys had 33. James Harden, I think, had 28 points in the first game. Paul chipped in. But in order for them to win this series without Kawhi, Paul George and James Harden are going to have to be what we know them to be, what we've seen them be in the regular season. So James Harden is going to have to be the beard, and Paul George is going to have to be playoff P. You back, Gil. Hey, check this out. You watched the game that we started with the Mavericks Clippers. What did you take? What's your takeaway from this game? Because the game after midway through the third quarter, it wasn't close.
Oh, the Clips got clipped. That's what happened. They was out of there. Oh, there was the old Clippers. Hey, there was they just didn't come to play with Kawhi being out. Right, James Harden had to be James Harden. Like you had no other choice, and the fact that he only took under 10 shots, he wasn't going to win that game. Him playing like that. So they're going about to see next week. They ain't about to see next week, huh?
Yeah, you know what? I got a question for Gil. Gil, you played at the highest level, so I'm kind of curious when it comes to the game of basketball, how difficult, especially during the playoffs or just in general, how difficult is it for players of Paul George and James Harden caliber to remain consistent game after game? Is it that difficult? Because we see them have 2 good games and they win 2 games where they scored well and they they were very efficient from the field. Then they have games like tonight where it seems like he wasn't playoff P, he was Paul George. And James Harden wasn't the beard, he was just James Harden. How difficult is it to be complete? That's the only word I can think of or analogy I can use to say where they play like themselves week in and week out, or night in and night out.
Yeah, okay. So when it's regular season, the reason regular season is kind of easier is because you don't get to scout me, right? I play you today, I'm flying and play another team tomorrow. We didn't do no scouting for each other, so we're out there balling.
Right.
In playoffs, right? We get there's a book with everything you want to do, all your secondary, your first, everything you want to do as a player. So
right.
Game to game, there's just little adjustments on you. So if you killed me last game, I have an adjustment for you, right? So a player has to show different skills, different games, different rounds. And a lot of players don't have those type of tools, right? They think they can go into every series playing the same way. Some games you have to be a decoy, right? Some series you have to be a decoy, right? So you rely a lot on teamwork, right? So yeah, I played great last game. I might need Terrence Mann today or Zubac today. You know, because they're the opens guys. So I might need them two to combine for 30 points. That means the next game frees me back up. So Dallas will not change what they did today because the other guys didn't kill them.
Right.
Okay, I got you.
That's what it comes down to. Because Ocho, you know, like when we started, you want to get to that fourth week because now we got 4 game tapes. We got 4 games. Okay, this is what they did in first and 10, in second and 5, third and short, third and long. Okay, this is what they did in the red zone against this formation. So the computer is going to spit out all the information, what they've done over the last 4 games. And as you go further, now you get to the playoffs, they've broken down every game that they played.
Right.
Every first and 10, every second and 10, every third and 10, every first and 5, every second and 5, every second and long, every third and short, every third and long, what they run on fourth down, what they run on the goal line, what they read in the red zone, so everything. So now you got a plate of information, and we know categorically. Now, you know they practice too, though. So they know what we're doing also. But more times than not, teams are going to stick to what they do because you never want to get beat. Because how many times you heard, man, why would he throw that pitch? He's blowing the fastball by him. Why he throw a changeup? Why he throw a curve? So, man, y'all know y'all supposed to get Ocho the ball. Why you going to the third receiver? Man, give Ocho a chance. So the team know they want to give Ocho the ball on third down in the fourth quarter, and they down by 4. Now, can they stop it?
Right.
Because they going to Ocho.
No. You heard what you just said? Can they stop it? They can't. Even with the film study throughout the week, whether it's 4 weeks, whether it's 8 weeks, whether it's 10 weeks. When I think about basketball, and like Gil said, when it comes to certain players and their skill sets and how many tools they have in the bag, I'm expecting somebody like a Paul George or somebody like a James Harden who has a skill set, who have, tools in the bag, being able to create space, being able to create their own shot, playing off the ball, pick and roll, all that good stuff. Like I expect them to look the same night in and night out because they have the skill set to be able to do all those things, to always be on each night. So to see him have a game like they did previously where they won, and then come out tonight and just be this flat, because if you're playing against the same person, then that same level of consistency, I think I would assume would be there because your skill set doesn't change. And the person that's in front of you, if you're playing the same team, it doesn't change either. And you can beat them, whether it be 1v1 or whether it be a team effort as well. So it's confusing to me how
it's not.
I think from a football standpoint, week to week, I know I can be consistent because, okay, even if you do study, even if you do know our tendencies offensively, all right, the coach is going to put me in positions to make plays anyway, regardless, which is, I'm sure, the same in basketball. So it's confusing how James Harden and PG can look great one night. It's like, oh my goodness, they're going to beat the Mavs. And then have a night like tonight, and you know what? Everybody go to shit.
No, you're right. You're right, Ocho. But that's when you see consistency from a player, you have to understand how great that player really is.
Thank you.
Right. So you can see the difference between, the LeBrons, the Kobe's, the Jokic, the Murray's.
Right.
The Steph Curry, the KDs, and the
because they're beating you different ways each game, not the same way. Jokic, he's going to post you up one game. You take that away. I'm going to pull out for the midi. Then I'm going to pull out for the three. That's what I'm saying. You got to have different games. If I know Paul George wants to pop, then shoot his fade away, he's not going to be able to beat me 4 games like that.
Right.
I done adjusted to that. So if he doesn't have a backup game, right? If he doesn't know how to post up, if he doesn't know how to flares, duck-ins, if you don't have part of that to free him up, if you can just run long, Hail Mary the whole game, I'm just gonna sit back in what was the prevent, I'm back in the prevent, you ain't coming back there, right? So if you don't have your little, 5-yarders, the slants and all the output, if you don't have it in your repertoire, it's easy to have games like this. And
but look what you just said. Look what you just said. These are two of the best in the game.
They're not LeBron.
Paul George and James Harden had that in their repertoire.
No, what's the history? Yeah. If you look at James Harden history, he's come up small in the playoffs. Look at Paul George history. There's one game, Russell Westbrook, when he was in OKC, Russell scored 45 points. They lost to Utah. Paul George gave him 5. If you look at James Harden, the most turnovers in a playoff game in history is James Harden with 14. So no, that's not true. Because the difference is that can you take, if you look at the great player,